I am done with Premiere Pro, and it's highly unlikely that I'll even consider opening the software ever again. But why? Bear with me. I am a firm believer that anyone can create astounding videos with any software. However, when it comes to my own creation of videos, I have found Premiere Pro to be holding me back more than it is helping me. Now for you, the story might be different, but this video is about my gripes with Premiere Pro and why I have switched to DaVinci Resolve. There are numerous creators that use Premiere Pro, such as Aiden Robbins, Mitchell Mullins, and James Matthews, but I mean, I've been trying to convince James Matthews to, switch over to DaVinci, but that's a completely different story. I switched over to DaVinci, and I'm very happy to say that it is just fantastic. So let's get into why I switched over and what my main gripes with Premiere Pro were. To be honest, I've actually been using DaVinci Resolve for quite a while, since November of 2019, but Premiere Pro was my software that I used before then. So why am I waiting almost more than 2 years to make this video? Well, there's two reasons. Number one, out of sheer spite. Number two is because I never really completely stopped using Premiere Pro when I got DaVinci Resolve. And I now have completely stopped that I got the studio version and never need to go back. The original reason why I installed the free version of DaVinci Resolve back in November of 2019 was to see if it could handle my drone videos any better than Premiere Pro did. And I was surprised that a free software was able to perform miles better than Premiere Pro. And just since we're on the topic of money, Premiere Pro is a $50 per month subscription fee if you're doing it within the Adobe Creative Suite, which is what most people do, and DaVinci is a one-time purchase of $300, or you can get the free version, which has around 80% of the features of the studio version. For most people, you wouldn't even be using those other 20% of the features that you would get in the studio version. So when I saw that DaVinci Resolve, the free version, was performing better than Premiere Pro, I had some serious questions. So if we're looking at our comparison so far, it looks like DaVinci Resolve has already taken the cake with a one-time payment and performing better, but that could just have been my computer. The main reason why I have gone back to Premiere Pro kind of back and forth in the past few months is because of my new camera. It shoots 10-bit, which is what I'm shooting in right now. It's the Canon EOS R6, and the free version of DaVinci Resolve originally didn't support the files from this camera. Now that I have the studio version, that has changed, but at the time, back in September of 2020, I had to make a decision, and the decision ultimately led to me going partially back to Premiere Pro, and for an entire short film, I had to edit it in Premiere Pro. Now, I know how to edit in Premiere Pro. I'm not saying I don't know how to use the software. I know how it works, I know how to work it, and I know how it should work. But the issue is that it doesn't always do that, and I found it to be really inconsistent. There are many reasons that make Premiere Pro just kind of annoying for me to use. It crashes a lot, but I mean, that's not too much of an issue because I'm the kind of guy that clicks Control-S every 5 seconds when editing, and it does get a little annoying to navigate through the software. But the biggest issues for Premiere Pro for me were color and exporting. When editing my latest short film, Afrovision, I came into a lot of problems with color. I had to color grade 10-bit footage from my EOS R6, and I found that Lumetri color, which is the color tab in Premiere Pro, just wasn't doing the job for me. I could get a decent look out of it, but I just felt like it was such a hassle and counterintuitive to use. Which, compared to the color tab in DaVinci Resolve, it's really hard to go back to Premiere Pro. Especially when the color tab in Premiere Pro is just a tiny little panel on the side of the screen, whereas in DaVinci Resolve, the color tab is a whole separate page in the editing software that encompasses the whole screen and makes you feel immersed. You have so much more stuff laid out in front of you, which is why it can be kind of intimidating for first-time users, but once you get used to it, it is just fantastic. Now, the next thing I mentioned was exporting, and for Afrovision, my latest short film, it was a massive problem. How so, you may ask? Well, unfortunately, Premiere Pro would crash or freeze or just fail to render whenever I'd raise the bitrate above 18 megabits per second. And if you know megabits and kind of video data rates, you'll know that that's kind of low. So if you look at the video on YouTube, not only was it compressed by YouTube's compression algorithms, but it also has this blocky, pixelated compression, and it looks really flat, just for some random reason, which has actually been talked about by other people, where Premiere Pro would just kind of make the video look different after export, which I think that might be a color space issue or something, but I feel like that would be something that should be not even a problem with a software that costs so much. So I was really disappointed with how Premiere Pro handled my footage after I exported it for AfroVision, and I had made a decision at that point that I wanted to get the full version of DaVinci Resolve. And in February of 2021, my studio license and speed editor came in the mail, and so did my computer parts, and I built that. And now I have a super powerful DaVinci Resolve editing rig. I am kind of planning on making a separate video just for my computer because it is a lot of stuff to talk about, but DaVinci Resolve has some pretty epic optimizations with RTX Studio GPUs, as I have the 3070, and I know Premiere Pro does have that as well, but it's great to know that DaVinci does the same thing. So the color and exporting and just the general unpleasant use of Premiere Pro was kind of the final straw for me. And once I made the switch over to DaVinci Resolve Studio, I just don't want to go back. So let's just take a look at my favorite things inside of DaVinci Resolve Studio 17. First of all is the layout. The software is super well organized from the bat. You have the bar at the bottom which tells you where things will be. You have the media tab, you have the cut page, you have the edit page, you have the color tab, you have Fusion, you've got Fairlight, and then you have the delivery tab. You can just simultaneously go through these kind of one by one as a step-by-step process for editing your videos. For me, the process is edit in the edit tab, color grade in the color tab, and use Fusion for any effects I might want to use, and then I just export. For people that like audio, you have Fairlight, which is a very powerful section of DaVinci Resolve, which I haven't really dabbled that much into, but it seems like it's a really powerful tool. Furthermore, Fusion has completely replaced After Effects for me. There's lots of third-party plugins and things that you can do inside of Fusion that I just feel like is better than After Effects, especially once you get used to the Node workflow. If you're uncomfortable with Node workflows, it does take a bit of practice to kind of switch over from a timeline-based editing software such as After Effects and move into a node-based thing, which DaVinci does use nodes for the color as well, but it really, once you kind of get how it works in your head, it's pretty straightforward from there, and I've been working on some pretty intense things in Fusion, and I can't wait to share them with you, hopefully in the next few months here. To me, all in all, DaVinci just feels like a lot more well-polished, well-rounded, more enjoyable editing experience, and that is why I am sticking with DaVinci Resolve. Now, for you, Premiere Pro might be the software that does those things for you, and I am completely for that. So, should you switch to DaVinci Resolve? That's not really my job to tell you. But what I'll leave you with is this. You shouldn't let your editing software hold you back from creating the best content possible. If you're interested in tutorials and commentary on DaVinci Resolve, look no further than my own channel. And that is all for today. I really appreciate you watching, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you use DaVinci Resolve? Do you use Premiere Pro? Do you use Final Cut? Do you use Sony Vegas? The list goes on and on and on. What do you use? What do you like about it? Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace!